Hey Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, how are you?
Good, good. Welcome back.
Thanks.
So what are some concerns that you would like to discuss today?
So I recently got married and really happy. It's going really well. I'm excited about the future, but I'm also living away from my family for the first time, and my siblings are getting older and they're going out and doing their own thing, and I just feel very distant from them currently. And my parents and my younger siblings are still at home, so I feel very just kind of out of control in terms of being able to have the relationship that I typically have with them.
So yeah, so you recently just got married, and that's going really well. But you seem like you're feeling like a separation from your family of like your siblings, and it's like they're growing up as kind of, I don't know, you're feeling the separation. It's kind of weighing on you.
Yeah, it makes me a little bit anxious that I'm not there to help them through some things, and especially the little ones. You know, I was there for the older ones the time period that the little ones are going through now. I was there, and they're my babies, and I don't get to be there for a lot of. I don't get to see all of the games and recitals and birthdays. You know, I just don't get to be there the same that I was previously, and it's not even because of my marriage. I was moving anyway for school, so married life is just a transition that's going on at the same time, I guess, but it's just really difficult, and I've already had to spread myself pretty thin with school and work right now, and I just feel like all these different parts of me are in all these different places, and I'm not very centered in where I am in the present moment. It's really hard for me to just be where I am because I've got to worry about this, and this that are all in different places.
So it sounds like that you're being spread thin through different places, just with work. Not really your marriage. You're confident. I can feel that confidence there. But with school as well, and then you have work, and then you're also feeling anxious that you're not being able to grow up with your younger siblings and see, you know, things like their birthdays and stuff like that. So
yeah, in my family, we don't miss stuff like that, and those are the times that everybody's in one place, birthdays, holidays. But there are so many of us, and birthdays. My little sister just turned 10 last week, and it was the first time that I can remember that, you know, I got to be there for part of it, but we had to FaceTime my two brothers at college, and we have a ritual where we always do a family picture while whoever's celebrating the birthday blows out their candles, and that was the first time that we had two of them on the phone instead of actually standing there, so that was just a little difficult to see, and you know, think about how it's just going to continue to. My brother's planning on joining the Marine Corps, and the Navy will move me and my husband somewhere in a couple of years, and we're just getting to that point where we're all going our separate ways, and it's just not something I was really prepared to deal with, I guess, yet.
okay. So it sounds like you're not really prepared, or you weren't prepared to deal with your family going separate ways, and that's kind of where you're hitting now. Is this kind of like this crossroads?
Yeah, I think if it had just been the four of us, originally we're very close in age, I think it would have been, you know, at this time I would be ready for all of us to kind of go, but we had the little ones, and there's such a big age gap, and I just feel like they're a really big tie for us to want to stay for a little bit longer and be there for a little bit longer, but with what's going on in our lives, it's just not logical. It's not going to happen that way, and I guess I really worry when I started a family that I didn't have aunts and uncles and grandparents that were really in the picture. I had my siblings, and they're everything to me, and so I want my kids to get to know them before I get pulled away and have to go somewhere else. And that one, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm stressed about in terms of what's going to happen because of all of us separating, is that my kids aren't going to get to have the one thing that I want to make sure I give them
feel like this stress that you talk about, that your family is important, but having that family together, and you feel like just with the separate ways and all the moving and your brother going to the Marine Corps, that your family is not gonna have that.
Yeah, and I mean, my parents were military. My dad was Navy, and they moved, and we moved, and I think that's a big reason why we didn't necessarily have. I mean, in terms of grandparents, they just, the ones that were close just weren't ever really involved in our lives, and I know how wonderful my parents will be grandparents for my kids, so I know how incredible they are and how much they're gonna care, and I just wanna make sure that my kids get to feel that and not. I know that was a big hole for me. I know I struggled with that, so I don't want them to ever have to feel that way, ever.
Right. I'm very impressed to see like how much that you, I guess, put family first, even in front of you, and how important it is to you, and that you want that in your life. So that really impresses me.
Yeah, it's just, I think just because of how we grew up, and we've been through divorce, and we've been through 2 divorces. My parents got divorced, and my dad and my stepmom recently divorced, and she'd been in our lives for 10 years, so we lost another piece of us that, and it's a lot more difficult when it's not your blood relative to figure out how you're still going to be in each other's lives once there's a divorce. So I never thought at 22 that would be something that I'd have to go through again, and I guess just the more concerned I get for all, I just worry. I don't want my kids to ever feel that way. I don't want my kids to ever have to even worry. And in my marriage, I'm so confident in my marriage and how I think we'll be really, really wonderful parents. And I think the only possible gap would be us being somewhere that everybody else isn't, and it wouldn't be something we could control. It would be, his job and potentially my job, and just where we need to go and what we need to do. And I don't hold that against him at all, but it does worry me.
Yeah, so you're confident with this marriage, and that's something that you do say a lot, that you're confident with it, and that you'll be able to be really good parents. But it's that gap that you talked about, that distance that you feel like that might render your child's experience, or that it might turn out kind of like yours with that separation, and then having to deal with 2 divorces just with the distance and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's like always this deep, dark fear that we'll make our parents' mistakes. But like I said, I have so much more confidence in my marriage, and we're so much more aware of what we're going into, I think, than my parents were. They got pregnant with me really quickly, and then got married and started moving. Like all of it, it wasn't part of the plan. It was just kind of happened. And Caleb and I have been different in that we've planned out every part so far of what's happened, and we know our time frame for when we're gonna have to move, and we know that my brother's gonna go into the Marine Corps, and his sister's probably gonna take a job in Virginia, where she's at school now. She has looking like a job offer coming out of graduation, which is incredible for her. And then my siblings are just starting college. My other siblings are just starting college, and the little ones are not even in middle school. So it's just gonna be, I feel like it's just gonna be a huge separation. I worry about my mom handling that. Caleb's parents had 2 kids, and they're both in college, and they both pretty much have everything figured out, and my mom has to go through all over again in like 8 more years before she's actually empty nesting officially, and she'll be a grandparent by then. And I know how much it would mean to her to have us close. So we've talked about moving up our timeline for when we're going to start our family, even though I would still be in school and I would still be working an hour away, which would make it really difficult. But we've talked about weighing the risks and the benefits, and we feel like it's so important for us to get that time with our families before we get pulled away that we'd be willing to for it to be a little bit more difficult at the beginning if we get to have that time.
Okay. So it sounds like you have this fear of making the same mistakes as your parents, but you feel like you have this plan, of making a family with Caleb. You have you're confident with this plan, and then you're also dealing with the inevitability of all this movement with the military, with your younger siblings' military and their schooling, and then you also realize that Caleb's parents pretty much done with like having to do with college and parenting on that aspect, but you kind of feel for your mom because she still has younger siblings that have to go through college. She has to parent them through college and support them. So you kind of feel for that, and you want to be close to your mom, but you also know, or you want at least for your parents or your kids with Caleb that they have that experience with their mom or your grandparents, their grandparents. So you're worried about that kind of plan, but you're open to moving that plan or adjusting it to where they have that.
Yeah, I'm definitely just trying to figure out what's best for us and for our kids. And the biggest thing with Caleb's parents is that I know they're both retired. They're 10 and 15 years older than my parents, so they're at a completely different phase in their life. And his sister's likely going to stay in Virginia, and one of Caleb's options for the military would be Virginia. So there's the potential that we end up in the same place, and I know without a doubt his parents will follow us. And my mom won't get that. She'll have to stay, and she won't get that opportunity. And I just know how much that will weigh on her. She'll feel like she's letting me down, especially if his parents are able to go and they're not. And I just know how important it is for her to be as incredible a grandparent as she is a parent, because her parents didn't or weren't able to and didn't want to. So I know that I know what she's going to be dealing with at that point too, and I want to make it as easy on her as I can, because I need it just as much as she does. So just trying to figure out what the solution is that works best for everybody. And some people say we shouldn't base the decision on everybody else, but it's not based on them, it's based on me wanting them to. It's me too, and Caleb too. And we want them to have that, and we want them to know these people before we have to move. And with the state of the world right now, there's no telling that we'll guarantee we'll even be stateside, so it could be a completely different move than we're even anticipating.
Right. So it seems like with the possibility of Virginia, and that his sister is there, so that will be your close family relative, and then the openness of their parents actually coming to you, which is part of that big plan you want, and then but you kind of feel like you're letting your mom down, or your mom's gonna let you down with not being able to be a close grandparent or being there for the children. That's what I'm sensing.
Yeah, definitely. I know her so well, and I know how much she puts on herself in terms of taking care of us and giving us everything that she didn't have. And I just don't want her to feel that she's let me down when it's my life that's pulling us away, not hers. So and that makes me really anxious, obviously, not knowing what the right answer is. It's not going to be right for everybody, but it's going to be trying to figure out what's right for the majority and what's right, most importantly for me and Caleb. And that may put some other people's needs or wants behind ours, and that's just what we're going to have to do. But I don't like to let people down, and I'm the oldest. I'm the first to be married. I'll be the first. Better be the first to have a baby. So it's going to be all these big changes for our family that I just can see it, and I can see how wonderful it's gonna be, and it makes me so excited, but I also know that, you know, if we wait until I'm out of school, then we're gonna lose that. There is no, we either just go earlier and have it, and it's really hard in terms of being on the move all the time, and me trying to balance, you know, finish my degree, and he'll be second year of medical school, which is, when he starts taking his first, you know, exams and looking for residency and all that, so it would just be really, really, really huge times for us, and then to raise a baby, and that it does make me worry about how that would affect our marriage, if we can still be at the place that I feel like we
Right.
can be and will be. And that's a factor that I can't predict how that's gonna change, so just not knowing is what makes me
Right.
the most
Right.
anxious.
Anxious about not knowing like the answer of when you should have this child, but also you know that you're the first married. You want to be the first to have the child in your family, and then but you're anxious of how everything's gonna come together.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let anybody down, right? But you also know all these things that are inevitable, like residency for Caleb, you know, your master's program, things like that, coaching, and then moving as well.
Mhm.
So you're very anxious of when is the right time.
Yeah, I don't wanna make the wrong decision, and I'm a planner, and, you know, at this point in my life, I've done a pretty good job of making things happen the way that I want them to, and the way that I think is best, and, I guess just coming to terms with the fact that at this point in my life, it's, not gonna be up to me as much, and there are a lot of other factors to consider, and, man upstairs is gonna have a big decision in this one, and I just trusting that I'm not gonna know necessarily that it's the right time, but that I'm gonna be okay, and that Caleb and I are gonna be okay, and that our kids are gonna be okay, and they're gonna be so loved no matter where we are. I know how much effort our family will put into being there in every way that they can, so I know logically that it's going to work out, but I still just have an anxiety about it because I
Right.
can't predict it, and I
Right.
can't control a lot of it.
Yeah, you're confident that it's going to work out no matter what,
Yeah.
but you're anxious about just not the unknown, that you know that you're just anxious that it might not go as planned, but you know no matter what it's going to work out.
Yeah, I have my perfect scenario in my head of what it would be,
Right.
but to even create that, I have to take out some of the things, some of what's actually going on. So I know that there's a disconnect there, and I know that it's
Right.
not going to happen that way, but I mean, it's just an anxiety, it's just an unease all the time about if I'm making the right call, and if I'm pushing something too quickly to try to create this perfect world, or if I should just let it go and let it happen on its own. And my friend is trying to get pregnant right now, so I know how difficult that is on mentally, physically, emotionally, how difficult officially trying and putting that pressure on yourself is, and I'm seeing her going through that, and I really don't want it to be that way when I start, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it, and make sure that Caleb and I are on the same page, and he's not just telling me whatever I think is best is best. Some
Right.
scenarios I'm okay with him telling me that, but in this one I need to know that he's really seeing it for what it will be,
Right.
and that he's mentally preparing himself for everything that comes with it. Because I had younger siblings all the way through. I know how to raise a baby. I know how much it takes, and he had one sibling that was less than 2 years apart. He doesn't know. He's never
Right.
been through it, so you know, I've only been through the part as a sibling, not actually the physical everything that will come with that. So I just want him to know what it really entails, and to know that it's really what he wants. Because if it's not, I don't want to push it, because I have this fantasy world where it'll be what's best.
Right.
Because I know logically that he'll look at it in a different way than me. So I want to see what that difference is and figure out where the answer is in
Okay.
between both of us.
So yeah, so your friend is trying,
Yeah.
and so you're able to kind of reflect on that, and you know how much pressure that you feel that pressure, and you don't want to have that pressure when you're trying with Caleb. And then there's also feel like you don't want to be putting something that Caleb doesn't want to do, or
Yeah, not that. I mean, I know he's really excited to start a family. I know that he wants that. I just don't know if he can't know what he's in a really good place right now in terms of he's got his routine down for school, but he's still in his first year, and every year there are new things that come along, and so I feel like right now he feels really good because he's got his routine down, but he has no way of knowing how that routine's going to change in the next year, and if that would impact how confident he feels about this being the right time. And I can't put him in that situation and figure out if he's gonna still feel the same way. So I'm trying as much as I can to just make sure that he's thinking about what the actual time frame looks like and what he'll have going on at that point, and if he still thinks that logically it's a good time for him, because he loves school. Such a nerd. He loves medical school. He's enjoying it so much, and his parents were older when they had kids, so I know like his whole life that's been something that they've just talked about it differently than what I've seen and what I grew up in. So I want to make sure that he gets it completely before he just agrees with me, because right now is really good, and I don't want it to be an illusion that he's created that it's going to stay exactly the same as it is right now, because I know that it won't.
Okay. So yeah, you want to make sure that he agrees with having the baby now, instead of just saying yeah, of course, yeah. You want to make sure that he really does, because he's in a good place and with routine in school and things like that. So
yeah, he's just, I'm really proud of him, and but then this summer he's gonna start the military aspect too, and he'll have officer training, so he'll get a real taste of what that really is and what that means. So that's kind of another factor that's gonna come into play, and there's the potential that if we time it the way that we want to and it works out that way, that he's not here when I have our child, which would be for him devastating, and for me obviously equally devastating. But I know how much he would put on himself if he couldn't be there. I know how hard he would take that, even probably harder than I would. And there's no guarantee with the military in terms of when he has time off, where he can be sent or what he has to do. So there's really no perfect time, which they say you're never really ready, and financially we're in a really good spot, and we take really good measures to make sure that we have we have a nest egg that we've started, but he also doesn't know how much it takes to, and I don't really have that grasp of that either, how much money it takes to raise a child. And our apartment it feels very spacious for the two of us, but we add another human being, is it really going to feel that spacious? We would have to look at moving, and there's all these things that I know logically I should not be worried about, because you can't figure it all out beforehand, but I still want to, and so there comes in the anxiety of me not being able to control everything that I wish I could control. And I sound like a control freak. I'm really not. I just when it comes to these things,
like to have a plan.
I like to have a plan.
Right. Well, Alex, we're out of time, but today we talked about just the anxiety of all these different things coming together in your life. You talked about this, your plan, and you're dealing with this new marriage, but also the anxiety of your siblings growing and reaching points in their life, like school and military, and you're not there for them as much as you would like to be. And then you have the anxiety of your mom having to deal with this without the support of you. And then also you have the inevitability of the military and moving with the military, but also Caleb's medical school, and you're trying to figure out when is the right time to have start your family, and so there's kind of this unknown of when the plan is right or wrong, and so there's a lot of anxiety of all the unknown.
Yeah.
I appreciate your openness throughout the session, and also it was a pleasure to spend time with you. So thank you, Alex.